Hey everyone, so what if you could build your dream supercar right in your own garage? In this explainer, we're diving into what has to be one of the most ambitious DIY projects I've ever seen. It's a story packed with ambition, huge risks, and honestly, some mind-blowing engineering. So let me just ask you this straight up. Do you think it's possible to build a high-performance supercar using a bunch of 3D printers that, get this, cost less than a new smartphone? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, one guy is actually making it happen. All right, let's get right into it. The man behind this unbelievable project is a YouTuber named Mike Lick, and his goal? Well, it's about as ambitious as it gets. To 3D print a perfect, jaw-dropping replica of a Porsche GT3. Now here's the part that really blows my mind, how accessible this all is. We're not talking about some giant multi-million-dollar factory setup. Nope. Mike is building this beast of a machine with regular off-the-shelf 3D printers, each one costing no more than $500. It just goes to show you how far this tech has come. And just so we're all on the same page, this is not like building a standard kit car, not even close. You know, with a kit car, you get pre-made molds, a set of instructions. It's a proven process. What Mike's doing here, it's totally experimental. It's super high risk. He's literally printing and fitting every single piece from scratch. So let's talk about the first major hurdle he had to overcome. Because right from the get-go, this project ran into a huge structural problem. And it all came down to the car he chose to start with. See, the whole project is built on the chassis of a 986 generation Porsche Boxster. And here's the catch. A Boxster is a convertible. But the car he's building, the GT3, is a hardtop coupe. So, yeah, that meant he basically had to invent and build a roof from nothing. So how on earth did he pull that off? Well, it was basically a three-step process. First, he took the open-top chassis. Then he had to meticulously design and 3D print an entirely new roof, section by section. And finally, he bonded that whole new structure right onto the car's original frame. And this is where the engineering gets really cool. There's a funny little twist here. You know, when a car company takes a coupe and chops the roof off to make a convertible, the frame actually gets weaker. It loses rigidity. But by designing and adding his own custom roof, Mike actually added all that strength back into the Boxster's frame. The car is now stronger than when he started. But of course, the challenges were far from over. The next huge risk came from the way he was actually building the car's body panels. It was, well, let's just say it was an unconventional method with absolutely zero safety net. Okay, so in any normal custom build, you'd make a mold for your parts, right? That way you can test how they fit, make copies if you mess up. Mike didn't do any of that. He just printed the parts and stuck them directly onto the car. Every single piece was a one-shot deal, a total gamble. I mean, can you just imagine the pressure? With this direct-to-body method, there is absolutely no room for error. One tiny miscalculation on a single panel could throw everything else off, like a domino effect. It meant he had to be constantly adjusting and tweaking every single piece as he went. Okay, this brings us to the real nail-biter of the build so far, the ultimate gamble. It all came down to one decision about the electronics, a decision that could have totally derailed the entire goal of making a perfect replica. So to get that perfect, authentic look, Mike went out and bought a set of real, genuine, modern Porsche GT3 RS taillights. The idea was that from the back, you couldn't tell the difference between his car and the real thing. Amazing, right? The problem? Getting these super modern, complex lights to actually work on a car from the 90s. And let me tell you why this was such a huge deal. The old Boxster, it has a super simple electrical system. You know, power goes from the switch, through a wire, to the bulb. That's it. But these modern G3 lights are all digital. They talk to the car's computer through something called a CAN bus system. It's kind of like trying to plug a brand new iPhone into an old rotary phone line and expecting to browse the internet. It just shouldn't work. So this was the moment of truth. Was it even possible to get these high-tech taillights to work using these simple, old-school wiring from the Boxster? I mean, without the complex computer system they were built for. The entire look of the car was riding on this one thing. So, after all that nail-biting and uncertainty, was this massive gamble going to be a huge success or a complete disaster? Well, let's find out. And the answer is, the risk paid off. And not just a little bit, it paid off in a huge way. It was an absolutely massive gamble that ended in total success, pretty much defying all logic. Somehow, against all odds, they figured out that if they just wired them up for direct power, the modern taillights and even the turn signals worked perfectly, just like that. The gamble was a home run. And now, from the back, that car looks exactly like a real GT3 RS. So I want to leave you with this final thought. A project like this proves that one person with a ton of creativity and some pretty affordable tools can now build something that used to only be possible for huge car companies. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What does this mean for the future of car manufacturing and for customization? What's next? Pretty amazing stuff. Thanks for joining me on this one.